Hello everybody, welcome to Pikes Peak International Raceway. I get a very limited amount of time to make this video. I'm also writing pieces about this car, the Corvette E-Ray, for Road and Track web and for Road and Track print. Those pieces will have a lot more detail, but this is our first drive in the car and it is incredibly exciting. So we're going to do some laps on track and then I'm going to try and talk about it as best I can. I've got the notebook on this one because a lot to remember. Very complicated car, okay? Boilerplate items. It has the 495 horsepower V8 in the back. In fact, that is this total Stingray powertrain. It then has a completely separate, standalone, 160 horsepower, 125 pound-feet of torque electric front motor. A single motor with a 1.9 kilowatt battery mounted underneath the armrests in here. They actually have to make no changes to the Stingray architecture to mount that battery. And in fact, you get a whole trunk up front as well. It doesn't impede on the trunk. The result, 655 horsepower, 495 pounds of torque. Good for 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds and the quarter mile in 10.5. That is the quickest Vette ever, and it's also quicker than the Z06 in 30 to 50, 30 to 70, and 60 to 130 tests. It's about 200 pounds heavier than the Stingray, which is actually not that bad, and they have tried to keep it light by incorporating a lithium battery standard and carbon ceramic brakes standard. It is available as both a coupe and a power retractable hardtop convertible. And in fact, Tad Juchter, the head of the program, told me that the convertible, he believes, is the most complicated consumer product ever made, with a gas powertrain, electric powertrain, mag ride, dual clutch gearbox, and a power retractable hardtop. If you know of a car that is more complicated than that, let me know in the comments. E-Ray is designed not as a hardcore track weapon, but as an all-season Grand Tourer, and I drove it on the road, and it is quite great at that. You'll see on the track, it's good too. It's got most of the Z06 bodywork, but with the Stingray rear bumper with the separate exhausts. The battery does not plug into the wall. It is designed to charge and discharge very fast, okay? And it does not need to be plugged in ever. It's not a range thing. The car does have a silent mode. You can get about 3 miles on front-wheel drive electric, just enough to leave the neighborhood without waking your neighbors. But it's really designed to be driven with the electric motor as a power adder, not a range adder. Having said that, it's the horsepower of the Z06 with better fuel economy than the regular Stingray. So, let's go on the track and talk. Here we go.
Guys, today's video would not be possible without our sponsor, Exter. You've heard me talk about them before. It's a small company started by two guys who wanted to redefine something we've lived with for hundreds of years, the wallet. And the Exter Slim wallets are here. These things are great. They fit easily in your front pocket. They don't take up much space on the outside, but they hold a ton. They hold 6 cards fanned out like this on the inside, 2 more in the front pocket. There's a strap for some bills or receipts. The whole thing is RFID resistant to reduce credit card theft, which is something that's actually happening now wirelessly from your pocket. And there's a pouch on the outside for an Apple AirTag, so you never have to ask yourself where your wallet went. You can always track it with your phone. And Exter's not just wallets. They've also got tote bags, backpacks, suitcases, everyday carry tools and accessories like this incredible card tool, which can do about 10 different things and fit in the size of a credit card, tracking devices for your keys, and a whole lot more. And we've got a special deal for you guys today. Hit the link in the video description or go to shop.exter.com/TheSmokingTire and use code TST at checkout. Get 25% off your entire order from Exter. And now, back to the action.
This has PS4S tires on optional carbon wheels. You can kind of hear the electric motor when it engages. It's got a sort of beautiful hum. It sings a little bit. Loads of grip at the front, especially coming out of a tight corner. Do you hear that? It really claws its way out of those corners. It's got a ton of front grip, right? Now you can put it into a Charge Plus mode, which will allow the battery to discharge slower so that you could do an entire 30-minute track session. Or you could do what I have and leave it in discharge mode, allowing you to get as fast a lap time as possible. The difference between charge mode and discharge mode is about 1.5% lap time on any given track, okay? So think about that, but it can sustain that using the charge mode, which is very neat. They're making me do this thing where I go through the pits. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Gotta let it go. Tremec dual clutch gearbox is good as ever. The balance is superb, and standard ceramic brakes like the Z06, excellent, helping to reduce weight and also great for the stopping power. 15.7 up front. You hear it go. Steering is nice and sharp. The tires are really wide. In fact, with the standard all season, it's a 345/21 in the back. That's the widest all season tire ever fitted to a car. But like I said, we have the optional PS4S here. As you come out of the hairpins, you know, the faster you go, the less you feel the hybrid motor, right? But in second, third, I mean, especially from the launch, you really get an impressive amount of power down. You can actually chirp the front tires on the launch, which is cool. And they've even got a sort of feature that emulates a manual launch where you can kind of rev it up and then dump it using the brakes. It's neat. You can hear that e-motor spool up. Shifts nice and smooth. Woo! But 0 to 60 in 2.5 and the quarter mile in 10.5, and that is right in the wheelhouse of both the Artura and the Ferrari 296 for less than half the price of the Artura and less than a third of the price of the 296. With this all-wheel drive system, it does allow you to get on the power earlier without getting the kind of push you might have gotten from a Stingray or from a Z06. Now, the Z06 has tons of front grip, don't get me wrong, but if you smash the throttle early, it will push. This will use that torque at the front to pull the nose down. Consequently, it can actually make it tricky to slide. I did some slides earlier over on a skid pad over there, and while it did slide, it did require a bit more work. It was not a standard method of getting the car to slide. You hear when the battery kicks in, you only get that power about 50% throttle or more, because that's when you need it. I really like the brake feel, and you can just dial everything in very nicely using that Z mode and the PTM. You can set it up exactly how you want it. Plenty of grip from these PS4S's. It's a great tire, and there's a really good balance. You can feel the difference between understeer and oversteer. You can adjust accordingly. Right there, a little lift off oversteer. It's tucking the nose beautifully. And that's it. I'm just going to do a little cool down lap. Here's the thing. it does add a bit of technology between you and the road, right? The e-motor and those computers. But it uses that technology in a smart way that doesn't really take away from the driving experience. It doesn't feel that digital. It accentuates it nicely. It also fills in torque where it's needed in between the gear changes. And you can use that silent stealth mode to shuffle the car around without firing up the engine. That's nice. And it doesn't need to be plugged in. That's cool. And, you know, unlike the Artura and the 296, however, GM is offering two other alternatives to the E-Ray that are both gasoline powered, right? With the 296 and the Artura, those cars are only available as a hybrid. If you want to get in a, quote, entry-level Ferrari or entry-level McLaren, your hybrid is the choice. So it'll be interesting to see who chooses this when there are other options. Now, GM says that this is an all-weather, all-year solution, and that might be true, but I'm not sure it's the car that's limiting other owners from doing that. Regular Corvettes are great in the rain and the snow with the right tires. So I'll be very interested to see who proactively chooses this option compared to the others. Now, this is a very quick video, very limited on time, very short on B-roll, and I'm sorry about that. It's everything I had, and I had to pull favors to get this done at all. So if you want a more thorough, in-depth analysis of the E-Ray, go read my review on roadandtrack.com and look for my review in the next print issue of Road and Track magazine. Thanks to GM out here for letting me have a go. This is a very interesting product. I can't wait to spend a little more time with it. Thanks to you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.